Hey everyone, so what I'm going to show you how to do today is how to make a image popping out of text using a clipping mask technique. As you can see, it's fairly simple. I only have 4 layers over here. I've got a copy of my image. I have the whole image together, which is clipped inside of my layers, and then I have a background layer that's on top of that. To first start, you want to create a perfect square. So file new, and then you can create whatever dimensions you're looking for. I wouldn't recommend over 150 resolution. Make sure you're titling your artwork clipping mask so you don't know, you don't lose it in all of your stuff. Start from the very beginning, and what you're going to do is you are going to start off with your text layer, and I'm going to just click somewhere in the middle of my page, and I'm doing a tiger, so I'm going to do a big letter T. Feel free to do whatever you like. I'm going to use my move tool to scale my type the way that I want. I want it to be really large in the center of the screen. I would also encourage you to find a letter or a font that really goes with what object you're going to be using. So I downloaded from DaFont a font that's called Jungle. So it kind of goes with that theme, but feel free to go look through. And also, you could use some of the filters if you like to find something that best suits your needs. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start importing my images. So I like to start with my background first. So I'm just going to put my background image in here. I'm going to drag it to the bottom, and I'm going to scale it to the size that I'm looking for. I can always change this up later. And then I'm going to lock it in place. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add my tiger image. So when you're picking an image that's coming out of the frame, you want to show movement of some sort. If there's no movement, then there's nowhere for the image to go. So as you can see, this tiger is moving to the side off a little bit so that there's some things of it going off the screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my opacity just to kind of see where it's on my screen here. Like, is it kind of coming off the edge or so on and so forth? And I'm going to do a quick little clipping mask by just right clicking and create a clipping mask. And I can see that it's filled all the edges. That's exactly where I want. I can release the clipping mask if I need to. Okay. And so the next step is to select my tiger. So I'm going to use one of the several different ways of selecting an image. I'm going to go to Object Selection Tool, and I'm going to make sure I'm on my tiger layer, and I'm going to click. Now, it's not perfect. It didn't get all of its paws and things like that. So I want to really pay attention to what I'm doing with my selection. So I'm going to go to Select and Mask. And what it's going to do is it's going to pretty much show me what is being selected in my frame. So I can use the fur tool on this side to first start out here, and I can click along like, okay, I really want to make sure it's getting the fur and the whiskers. And then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to make sure that's adding. I can also just use the regular one here as well. So I'm making sure that it's getting that part. Now I can always edit this later, so not a big deal if I don't get everything. Playing around with some of these tools would also be super helpful. Like, how much of the edge do you want it to shift in or out? Do you want it to feather and smooth out the edges? How much of the radius you want it to go out from the edge there as well? Once you do that, you click OK. And then what you're going to do is make a copy. So the first thing that you want to do is do Command J for a Mac or Control J for a PC. So when you can tell here that I have a copy, so I'll label this one coffee, and then this one I will do this like regular tiger. This one will be regular tiger. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip this one back into the letter, and then I have this one on top. Notice there's some stuff that I don't want. So what I need to do is I'm going to click on my masking layer here. My masking layer, I also call it the Japan flag because it looks like a Japan flag. I click here and I'm going to paint away what I don't want to see. So I don't want to see this part of the leg. I want to maybe modify part of the foot here. So I'm going to use my paintbrush. I know it's kind of odd that you're using a paintbrush to paint away, but think of it as, instead of an eraser, never ever use the eraser. Honestly, you're just better off just using the masking, because it's like, oh no, I accidentally cut off his leg. Well, if I change it back to white, then I can go back and I can fix it. It's not a permanent erase like the other stuff is. So black takes away and white brings back. And notice that I can go as far into this image as I want. And I can edit by doing Command Z if I need to take a step backwards, but then it's all clipping inside. So I just have a copy. Okay. So that is our image popping out of the text, but I want to elevate this a little bit more, and I want to add a stroke or a drop shadow. So I'm going to click on my text, because this is what I'm going to have on my image here. So I'm going to click on effects, and then I'm going to go to stroke, and I'm going to make sure that I have all the settings that I want. This is what I had before. You could change from inside to outside and it'll change the way that it looks. You could change the color to a setting that's already here, or if you come off into the screen, then you can select something that's inside of the screen here. I like to select pictures colors, because then it kind of unifies it a little bit more. And then what you're going to do is then add a outer glow. Again, it has my settings saved from last time. So screen is what it should automatically pop up as, but you can change the color of your glow. And this is where now you can play around with the composition, make sure it's exactly what you're looking for. So if I need to like move my tiger around, if I don't, I don't want to I don't want to make my copy move. So what I need to do is I need to make sure I'm holding shift to move these together. So that way they're moving together, coincide. You can right click and link them together. You can link them so that when you move one, you also automatically move the other. And what I'm going to do is, I don't really like that his foot is hanging out here. I think it looks better if it wasn't. So what I'm going to do, go back to my mask, go back to paintbrush, and I'm going to paint away his foot. So now it looks like he is actually stepping outside of the frame. And there you have it. You have a clipping mask with an object coming out of the text.